This is day 1014 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, and it is the first day of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, your section on Yoreh De'ah. If you would like to sponsor the upcoming Shir or more, the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please comment directly. Very greatly appreciated. And we are doing today Yoreh De'ah, Siman Sama Gimel, Sif Aleph to Ches. And these are Din Basar Shenis Ale Min Ha'ain. The halachas of meat which has disappeared from the eye. Aleph. Kasar Rabbeinu Beis Yosef. Beis Yosef writes, Basar Nimtza Mushlach Bashuk. If you find meat cast about in the marketplace, Helach Acharov. Go after the majority of meat in the city. They call the parish Miruba parish. Anything which comes from, anything which has separated from the place of its kfiyas, the place where it originally came from, and is now in another place, came from the majority. And by Yurov Mochim Putim, most of the cells were non-Jews. Also, it's forbidden. Yurov Mochim Yisov, most of the cells were Jews. Mutter is permissible. So to meat which is found in the hands of a non-Jew. We don't know from whom we purchased it. You Mochei Abasa Yisrael. Mutter. If the sellers of the meat in the town were Jewish, mutter is permissible. I think it means most of them were Jewish. V'zeudin Torah. That's the halacha d'oraisa. However, Chazal already forbade any meat which you find in a outside the store, whether it's in the marketplace or in the hands of a non-Jew. Even though all the sellers, the all the slaughterers are Yisrael Jews in that town. Somebody who takes meat, and puts it into his house, and it becomes concealed from the eye. It disappears. Also, it's disappears. Not the right term. Let's use concealed from the eye. Also, it's written simon, unless you had a simon, or able to be a sign, or you recognize it by virtue of your familiarity with its cut, and so etc. etc. Fumakir, you recognize it. Vade shuzeh, you recognize it's definitely one you had left there. Oshaya chasum, or it was wrapped and sealed. Chasum Tola Kaylee? Chasum. This must be a typo here. This Arukh HaShulchan I'm using. Hold on. Faria, it seems to be a typo here. What it should be is, I believe, is Tola Kaylee Mole, not Ella. You hung up a vessel which was full of chatichos basar, full of pieces of meat. Nishbar keli, and the keli broke. And the pieces fell to the ground. And you found the pieces. Simon. You don't have a simon in them, and you don't recognize them. Raise the also. It's forbidden. Also, keli could be that meat which is in the vessel, which was hanging up there, Garato Chaya, Osheris, was taken away, dragged away by an animal or by a rodent. There's other meat, Akan Lashono, end quote. All this is the Rebbe Beis Yosef quote speaking. All of this from the beginning to the end of the Sif. This itself is taken from the Rambam. Base Od Kosav. He also writes Implo Mimasmer. If you hung it by a nail, or something similar, She'iev Shar Lasheretz Litol, in a manner in which a rodent cannot take it, Laniach, and put it back in place, so to speak. Take the you can take the meat without having removed the container from the peg, and I would have to put it back, which is extremely difficult for a rodent to do. Mutter, it's permissible. Yeshatin, those who made basar time and iron, meat which was concealed from the iron, matzil mokom shenichol, we found it in the same place we left it. Kasar meiramav, I made a hakasvach roina, made us make it like the last svara. Even if it's in the hands of a non-Jew, but mokom shekol mochim em Yisrael, where all the sellers are Jews, the mochim basar kosher, which sell kosher meat, is also okay. Hakan l'shon, and quote from the Ramah. It became a weird point. Explanations like this. The Gemara Cholin Daf Tzadik Dalit, I think this is. Um, Tzaddik came Rab. Omar Rab. Basar Shalim Minayin. Also, meat which became concealed in the eyes. Also, the came which over is his man. So that sometime that passed, Shalom Ra'ah Basar when he didn't see the meat. A few Munach al Shulchan, even if it's sitting at a table, Chayshina were afraid. Shem Yischal ben Nevela. Maybe he got exchanged for Nevela meat. That's Rashi. I feel even in a city where most of the slaughterers are butchers are Jews. The Chashim were concerned. Shema Ochvim Heviu Nevela Me'alma. Maybe ravens, like they brought meat at the time of Elio to Elio when he was fighting for Machov. Although they brought kosher meat, maybe ravens this time brought treif meat from elsewhere. Chafu, and they exchange it. The chumra ba'amahu. Rab's halacha is a chumra. It's the Gemara itself says Rab's halacha is a chumra. The Rav Shiar the Bavel. When Rav went down to Bavel, Ra'o some Zauzlim Yisurin. He saw them making light, were being frivolous about prohibitions. He was machar them. To forbade any meat which is concealed from the eye. Ayin Shom. That Achlafisa ain't a move on man Maksha Gemara Rab Mikama Mishnayos. But according to this, it's hard to understand why they're going to ask some Rab for some Mishnayos, which we see the Rab stuck on it. The Kshanim say Bakuti Mutar, Yakuti Abasa Mutar. When you find them in the hands of a non-Jew, it's permissible. Imrot Abach Esau, most of the butchers are Jews. Retired to Shas, and the Shas answer the name to Yakuti Kilo Minayin, that which is found in the hands of a non-Jew is more lenient than things which has completely disappeared for some time. The meat was assumed to have been safeguarded. In other words, no ravens came and took away some meat and put it at different meat because it was always being mishtamer by the non-Jew. He didn't shecht it, the non-Jew. It wasn't no non-Jew shecht him in the city. Utreifa lo machrula. They didn't sell him a treifa. Ava basim we're not going to sell him an eye, but meat which is just lying there and was hidden from the eye. Chashina were afraid Shema Orbi Michlivo, maybe the ravens exchange it. The Michael Maksha, but what's the question? Okay, the rabbis so Chidush Gezerah since the rabbis came up with this Gezerah, came when Minashem Nisarim Bisun, this is when we about prohibitions. It came Mashach Lakshos Mishnais, Hakas Mishnais, which predated the Gezerah. But Chetzam Shashon Loshes that Yerushalmi. They must see that our Shas does not go like the Yerushalmi. Elas really the Rami Dina also. The Rav forbade this according to the letter of the law. Lomidin Torah, not granted at the Torah, El Mixeres Chacham, Shikvar goes through. But rather from Mixeres Chacham, the Chacham rather goes there prior to that. That's why the question is a valid question. Hey, Ulafi is a kosher Rambam. According to this, it's difficult on the Rambam. Shechmir Gam Nimsa Biakuti. Why is the Rambam stringent when you find the meat in the hand of a non-Jew? More Mekos needs to be lenient about this. For and Farshid Dvarov. The Kalim of the Rambam, evidently asked this question. And they say that the Rambam Pasuk Yerushalmi Shechmir Cholinyon. That the Rambam Pasuk Yerushalmi, which is Machmir regardless. It's about the Mishnah says it. But if Yerushalmi lost his Shapi a cloud, Sugas the Shashalonu. So, according to Yerushalmi, our sugya, our shas doesn't really work out. Those who answered says the zeh that Gemara matim nimtzi akuti, that which is okay if it's found in the hand of non-Jew. Zeh b'makom shemachrizin im yesh treifa makulin im lab. It's a place where they make announcements if the meat animal was treifed up that day or not. Shelo yechrizu, if they didn't make such an announcement, have a siman shelo makulin treifa. It's a sign that in the slaughterhouse that day there was no treifa. Kamvur b'shas. Shall be made makom shechrizu. Then that time there was a place where they made these announcements. Okay, Rambam Oser. So that was the time of the shas. But the Rambam in his time asked, they should be loy sach rozos. The time when there were no such announcements. But shumakom anyway. Therefore, afraid maybe that day something got treifed up in the slaughterhouse. And they sold to this non-Jew. They say it's in the Bachlum in this way. But so this is worse. If this is the case, should also meet the rice as well. Even the same rights it's mutter because most animals are kosher animals, most animals are not treifas. Nevertheless, he's talking about the totally by makosh machrizin, makosh hemachrizin. We're going to say distinctions between the place where they make an announcement to the place they don't make an announcement. Have a more Tarek skin. Moshe said, "Oh, that's the difference." The place where they announce, place they don't announce. For the Rambam Badai Myra, feeling your dual learner, Shukudi Lakach, Boss Kosher Makulin. And also, it's clear from the Lashon Rambam, this time, even where we know for sure that the non-Jew bought kosher meat, but David didn't join the distinction because the Shafil called Moichem Yisrael. If all the settlers are Jews, so Nimtza Basa Acher Cloud, there's no other meat to be found at all. Shitas Rambam, who Shitas Hagoinim. And you can't just dismiss the Rambam because the Shitas Hagoinim, which could still Rishonim himself. Vav, Ikar Davar Tamwa, in the very core of this halach, it's difficult, the hay, it's difficult to understand. It's true, we find many times, let's use Yerushalmi in our Shas. Nevertheless, being because in such a thing, should be Yerushalmi Shnei Mekamos of word that Shadavar Yodua, the Rav goes to Davar Zeh. Yerushalmi says in two places that was known that Rav made this Gezerah. Neshu Mekilim be Yisurim Bebava, so he found that when he came out to Bava, they were lenient in Yisurim. The Eitzim Gezerah Chachamim Shekvar was not from the Gezerah Chachamim which preceded him. V'ashash lo yizbor kain. It's very rare and unlikely that our Shas should disagree with such a befei Yerushalmi in two places. Mashkela Mishnayos, almost to the point that that's in prior Mishnayos. He says, where's the other place in the Yerushalmi which is brought down? Brackets, he says himself, but it's our Perek Beis Halacha Ches. About the other territory, there's also more astonishing. Suya Shashlano, the Suya in the Bavli, that Memazu the Rab at Basar Shalami Nine, and this statement of Rab about Basar Shalami Nine, Omer, it says the Rab Labbe Ferushidmar, that which Rab it says, had such a Hanhaga, it's not explicit. It's without, it's derived. From a case in which Rab saw a certain person, Roches Rosh Behema Benar, he was washing an animal head in the river. Benafla Nahar fell in the river. Vevi Kli, and he brought a vessel. Vishtichel Amayim, he tossed it into the water. Water, I guess, in order to retrieve. I don't guess. In order to retrieve the head. Vishtichel Avel Shnei Roshim, and he brought up two heads. Heads are better than one. Not in this case. Ratzach wanted to eat both of them, but Rav rebuked him. Vasrani forbade both. The Gemara rejects it, says to me, saying Ryan. No, it's not evidence. They're also regardless, as the Kor Halacha. That port was a place of non-Jews. And they're more treif than kosher. And the principle is any place that you find on our shots, the place that says Mikolid Mar was derived from a story, and the derivation is rejected. The statement is rejected altogether. Bring some brachas Yirav, Shabbos Kuftes, Kuf Menvav, Ksuvas, Pei, Babakam Chaf, Kulin Kufirav. Kan, and yet here, Lo Nicha Mamar. Here we do not reject the statement. The Baruch HaCharkach, afterwards it asks, Rav Echi Achel Bas, it says, Echi Achel Bisra. It's a typo as well. It should say, Echi Achel Bisra. How do Rav eat meat? Because I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it says in the Russian of the Gemara. Zayin, L'chein and Niels Daiti. Shulchan seems to me the Badem Mikodim Sobar Shas the Medina Kamar. Initially, the Shas holds that Rav's halacha is the strict letter of the law. Yikshal Mishnayos, that's what it asks in the Mishnayos. Besides, it answers the name say Akuti killed fake. If it's found the heads of non-Jew, it's better. Vayikar Shas, and then the Shas says the lab of Perish Amar Medina El Mikla. It's not explicit that he said this as a letter of the law. It's derived. They show you Mazalzlim because they were making light of prohibitions. Like Yerushalmi says. Maybe Maisi Shachat Shabbat Rosh Hachad brings the story with this person who lost a head. Matzah Shnai we found two. Bratzah Chani wanted to eat them Begar, but Rav repudiated him, rebuked him. But Tam Zeh Gozek Zenazu. And on this account, he made this gzera. Made the b'chol gavna also, and therefore once he made it also, he's also apnim seyad kuti even found in the hands of a non-Jew. Came with shalotz lachmilem yoiser me'adin. He wanted to be more machar them than the strict of the law. This is one of the scoffings of the prohibitions that Yerushalmi mentions. That's maybe Yerushalmi Shah Maisa Bechad Shavad Rosh Echad B'Mayim Motza Echad. But Asurav, the Yerushalmi is a similar story. Let's say the guy lost one head and found one head, and Rav still answered it. But Zemi Tam Geder V'Syog. This is an additional fence, an additional barrier. The Medina Shari, according to the letter of law, it's permitted in this case. Uparach Hashas and then Shas has Malano in Beferish Asra or Miklala wasn't well it was he answered explicitly or it's derived from a Maisa. Matai to answer the Mehach Maisa Bilvad, if it's just in the story, Ev Shalom Mad Rab Sili Basa Shinisamin Ayn also can't say Rav Hel Basa Shinisamin Ayn is forbidden, but call Inyan no matter what. Sharei but Maisa Zu, because in this story, Midin Torah Asur. It's also midaraisa, or at least according to strict of the law, not as a chumrah. Came as trevas yayisim and because trevas are more prevalent. Elevadi ibnei hach ma'isa must because of the story of old another similar ones. Gaza Rab made the decree. V'zem uvam ma'id here to rare at least in the edition which I'm using now, which is not the same edition used for Arukh HaShulchan. So maybe I have to go back to the other edition. But here you have a brackets in the Arukh HaShulchan, which does not written in Rashi Ksav. It's written in block print. That's what with this instead of that which Rav responded to Rav Kana Ravasi, the Surah Shchef is more likely, more prevalent to have forbidden meat. What do you mean? It's more prevalent non-kosher meat. We said it's also even if all the sellers are Jews. Well, this is what it means. The Rav Kos name Maisazu. Rav got upset because of the story. The Gazar, and he made the decree. Shalulo, they asked him, Lama Tokois, why are you angry? But Medina Mutter, according to the strict law, it's permissible, at least till now. Basically, he answered them, the Medina also. It's also Medina. The Kos, and he ever got angry. The Gazar, he made the decree. Vamaisa. May Rabbi Chanina Chasanei, story later on from when Rav went to his son-in-law's house. His mom Rubel Acharkach. It was later, much later on. Miyushav Akushas Atayshashan the Kamaisazu, the Maisazu Kanshpashbog Zeraso, and whatever they asked there about the story. But at the time the story came, his Gezerah already was well accepted. So again, Midin Torah. Oh, sorry about that. I was coughing a bit. So it comes out Midin Torah. Initially, the Gemara understood it's Medina that this meat is also, and the Gemara says, well, maybe it's Medina, but it's learned Miklala. It's learned from the stories with Rav. And evidently, this is just an example of a story. And then we understand why Rav got upset, even though Medina it's mutter, and he said, no, it's Medina Usr. It's Medina Usr, but it's only initially Gemara understood it was Dina Asr from times from earlier. Then whereas and the more as the Shaklavatariya on that basis as some Mishnayos. Then where it says, you know what, it's us Medina, but it's only Rab's Takana. And Rab, so this story, so other stories he got upset and therefore he made the Takana. So initially the Gemara didn't know that. Initially the Gemara assumed that was us Medina, Rab was just reporting the prohibition. Whereas even you find a slaughtered animal in its entirety, it's also. Even though it's very, very unlikely to be any issue. They didn't distinguish in the Takana. The Rosh wrote that as well. The Shach allows a complete animal, but in acre. The Rosh rejects this. It's different Gemara there. Because he says that something about the Shach and Tosos. Skip that. Number 12, but if you hang hunger on a nail, it's a mutter kam dezu. That's what he means in this opinion. The bezel Hushai is there. If it's hanging on a nail and it's still hanging there, Zer is not relevant. Zel kamo simon shemoil. It's like an effective simon. Goes here. Ve'in lo bot for a sign. It's only because to recognize it. Or simon emtsoy or a moderately good simon. It's a simon to a sign, but if he has a simon or recognize it, gam b'chaticha mutter. It's mutter even by a piece. Begam or it's yeshul for a sign. And even though when it comes to Matthias, we say an Amoritz is not trusted by Tvia sign. For this purpose, an Amoritz is trusted. In brackets, things down to Ayin Tas, you've got Alf, Ain Circle Zeh, Cloud, the Mammon, by, I guess, by Abeda, whom he timed the Ainu Namon. He's not believed, an Amoritz, but here he is believed. Doesn't explain exactly why, but I guess this is more. Since it's more of a chumrah, the ikra din, and by moment it's more ikra din than chumrah, so therefore there we don't trust an Amoritz, or we do trust an Amoritz with his tviyah sign.